Good evening. Good evening. Happy Thursday. We made it another day, y'all. 4 days down, one more day to go. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you all had a great week. We are back again. So let us say, welcome, Bravo Nation. Welcome, Bravettes and Brave Brothers, our brave bros. We are back to do it again. We had such a awesome conversation last Thursday that we had to make it a part two. So here we are back. As you see right now, it's just the ladies, but hopefully our male representatives will show up before the night is over because we want to hear what they have to say too. Because we need balance. We always need balance. Balance is good, right? I was going to say amen like we in church, so y'all forgive me. Y'all. It's the preacher in me. I can't help myself. Y'all know. No excuses. So on tonight, we want to first of all say thank you, give homage, and a big bravo to the queen of Bravo herself, our pastor, Sheila Ingram, whose platform we are on tonight. All right. It is a blessing. I am fortunate, humbled, and appreciative to serve and to co host with her every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m., where we have great topics and discussions. And our platform is not to convince nor to convict, but to simply encourage, empower, and inspire. We're here to be open and have, as we discuss different topics, so that we can increase our knowledge and our understanding so that we can better our relationships. So, just a little, disclaimer in here so we can, everyone is free to be themselves. And we want to open up our conversation on tonight. But before we do that, I am your host, normally co hosting, but, you know, the Queen of Bravo has allowed me to steer the ship on another Thursday night. So here we go. We'll see what's going to happen. You know, we like to stir it up here on Bravo with Sheila. So that's what we're going to do. So let me reintroduce for those who may have missed last week or those who are on last week. I'm going to reintroduce two of our panelists that are here with us so far tonight. And again, hopefully the men will be able to come in and join us. So I want to reintroduce to the Bravo Nation my little sister in Christ. Such a blessing, sweet spirit, just amazing person to know. She has such knowledge and wisdom, and I love when she shares her tidbits. And she is in the person of Tanya Williams. So let's give her a bravo on tonight.
Hello,
And
everyone.
then go ahead. I'm so sorry. I'm like jumping all over the place. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go tonight. I'm just extra happy. I'm excited. I don't even know why. I could just be overtired. Who knows? You know how kids get. Now I feel like a little kid today. Don't start burning. So
Always
as
ready.
and so some of you may have known and you've seen her before. She is a part of the Bravo Nation. She's been on this platform and a part of our panel several times before. She is my longtime friend, my girl, my bestie from New Jersey, but residing in the North Carolina area. I do believe that's so right. We're going to be neighbors soon. My girl, Elaine Edwards. So y'all give her a big bravo on today. Yes, yes, yes. We
Soon we'll
waited
be
to the
neighbors.
people. And good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm gonna see if I can pick up my screen a little bit because y'all know I be blind, you know. So we thank you. So good evening to all the bravettes and our brave brothers, our brave bros, and we thank you all for joining us on tonight. So last week, our discussion, our topic was about resting in our female energy. Does strong female energy replace the presence of men? Does it replace the male presence? And we had my brother on, Minister Donald Bradley. He is my brother uh, by birth, by blood. I joke and I say there's four of us. He's number two, I'm number four. So you had two or four and four or four. And hopefully he'll be able to pop on. He shared some really good information, some really good expressions from the male side of how it makes men feel and what their expectations or what their requirements are as far as dealing with or being with independent women, and what that looks like for them. What how does it affect their relationship and how does it make them feel? So we wanted some balance. So again, hopefully that he'll be able to pop back on tonight. And one of my other male friends, Corey Johnson, he is my who I call my intellectual counterpart because he and I go back and forth over every and anything. We will pick it apart until there is no more. So on tonight, we want you to grab your snack and let's get ready to chat and talk about it. It's a free platform. And again, we don't want to convince anyone. We're not here to convict anyone. We're just here to talk, to discuss, and to open up understanding. So, one of the questions that I want to go back to from last week, and there's two questions really I want to put before us tonight. So since it's just the ladies, I'm going to start here. Since it's just the ladies right now, one of the questions that we kind of got stuck on and we left on was, um, do we have to choose? Do we have to choose between being an independent woman and having a man? And for those, I just want to recap for a second. I'm sorry that the way this topic or this thought came about is because I was having a conversation with some of my other girlfriends who were like, listen, I got my house, I got my car, I pay my bills, I shop for myself, I take myself on trips, I do all of these things. What do I need a man for? I don't need no man. What is he going to do for me? And I said, well, you know what? I hear you, sis. I understand. I feel you. I used to have the same mentality. But believe it or not, all of those things do not replace a man. I was in the same mindset. Like, I got me. You can't do me better than I do me. So what do I need you for? Why are you here? What have you come to do and who sent you? Where are we going from here? And I'm sure you all can relate at some point on, oh yeah, I'm a question and answer girl. Like, I need to know what you're here for. Who sent you? Why are you here? What we doing? You know. But it's the fact that we as women have gone so long, or there was a time when we went without the respect and acknowledgement and support, just as a human being, that we had to fight for. We didn't have rights to vote. We didn't couldn't buy a house in your name. You couldn't get a car in your name. We were second class citizens. And so, the whole feminist movement just was necessary and it came into being and it was an uproar. And we earned our rights. We can do all of these things, same things that men would do. We have the same opportunities now for the most part. So we understood that that mentality was necessary back then and for what its goal was. But now, in the dispensation and the time that we live in, is it really necessary for us to still carry that mentality? Like, do we really need to rest so hard in our feminine energy? Because when we set ourselves like, I am woman, hear me roar, can't no man take me down off this mountain, and we are dismissing and we are actually degrading our men because we're taking away their value in our lives. We're basically telling them, like, you add no value to my life. That's the message that a lot of them get. And is that really the message that we want to send? Because we are really pushing away a lot of great men just because we are resting so hard in our independence that we make no room for them. So, again, I just wanted to recap for those who may not have seen it, and just a refresher for those who were with us last week. So I want to open up the discussion again, ladies, with the question of, why do you feel is it that why do we have to choose between the two? Do we have to choose? Why can't we have both? So whichever one you want to jump in and share your thoughts, go right ahead.
I can start. I don't think we have to choose. I think we can have both. I think that there needs to be a balance, though. We need to learn how to balance that. And I think that that might be difficult initially for women if they, like I said, when I started out, I was in a two-parent, home, but, I wanted to make sure that I had my own just in case I had to do it on my own. But still having a balance of, okay, I still want to have a partner. And so we can, still do this thing together. But I also, I think one of the things, and I got some feedback, people told me how much they enjoyed the show and they really enjoyed listening. But, it doesn't mean that we have to dim who we are if someone is
Right.
insecure. So I think that might be an issue as well sometimes, because women feel like, okay, am I going to have to dim my light because he may be feeling insecure? So that might be an issue where females are feeling like they can't have both. But I
Mhm.
think we can, but we have to have a balance.
No, that's a great point that you made, and I really want to kind of pin right there for a second before we get to Elaine, because you made the point of a man feeling insecure because we are so strong and because we are so aggressive, for lack of a better term. You know, we
Are you
do
leaving?
we have to dim our light, but burn your mic is open. Um, do we have to not be who we are in order to make them feel more comfortable? But I think in that we play a great role in that, because that's something that we need to consider and think about when we are choosing the man that we are with. Where are because truth be told, we're all insecure in different spaces. No matter how long you've been with somebody, you might feel, at some point you might feel insecure about your body. You might feel insecure about your education, because as you grow and you evolve, different parts of you, not one part may not be as dominant now. I know in my mid 50s, there are parts of me that are more dominant now than they were when I was in my 30s or in my 20s, because I hadn't developed those yet. So we need to find someone. I'm more mindful now than I was back then, about that point of insecurity. And as we grow, our light gets brighter, our light gets bigger. So we really have to be sure that we are partnering with someone who can grow with us, not just for where we are right now, but can you grow with me, 10 years from now, whatever direction I'm going in, and are you going to be like, I often wonder where that insecurity in men or women come from. And a lot of times it's because they feel like we're growing without them, and we have to make sure that we provide a safe space for them. First of all, provide a space for them, and then a safe space for them to feel like they're always going to have a part in the plan. It's not like I'm growing on without you. you know I hope that makes sense. Like, that's in my thoughts. But it's a really good point that you made about the insecurity. And when we come off with that attitude as we're growing, we can't allow our head to get so big that we start to make the man feel insecure, because now we're making him feel like, well, I don't need you because I'm doing more of this. And people outside are calling my name. I'm getting my validation from outside. And that will cause a person, male or female, to start to feel insecure about where they stand in our lives. So I totally agree with that point of insecurity. I'm glad you brought that up. And the point of balance. Balance is really difficult. Like, as a single mom, I've been doing it for my son to be 21 in a few days. And I have, while I have been married along the way, while I have had him, I've been the constant. So for me, defining balance in a relationship, I find it's gonna be really it's gonna be really hard, because I'm used to doing everything. So what that balance looks like for me, and just being transparent, like figuring out where to let go, and it has a lot to do with that feeling of control. I've been controlling stuff so long that I don't know how to not control something.
Right.
So then I'm overdoing, which again will make any man feel like, well, hey, you don't like, well, can I be the man sometimes? Like, can I? I mean, I'm not gonna change a tire. Not that I couldn't, but I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna break my nails. I'll be a lady then. But you made very great, excellent points about balance, about it being the difficulties of it, and about being insecure. What say you, Elaine?
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I I still say I do believe what Tanya said. I don't think we should have to dim our light to or dim who we are in order for a man to feel secure in who he is. I think he needs to come to the table already secure. Um, or if he doesn't, I think maybe that's not a good match. Or maybe it's a brother, or maybe it's an uncle, or maybe I don't know. However, I don't think we should have to dim who we are to make a man feel secure. Not that we go out of our way to tear them down, but we shouldn't have to dim, just like they shouldn't have to dim who they are to make us feel secure. Most men don't need all of that. Most men who are secure within themselves, they come into the picture not having to say they are men. They just are. They do it. They are who they are. I don't think that women, and then the other flip side of that is it's like Dawn said, being who she is as a single mom, most of her, she's been doing this on her own. It will be very difficult for someone to come into her life and tell her what not to do and what to do when she's been doing it
Lord
all
Jesus.
along. But the right man will come in, recognize what's happening, take his time, and get to know where her areas of weakness are, and vice versa. So I think it just goes to show what Tanya said. You got to have a balance, but you can't force a woman to get to that balance, just like you can't force a man to be the man you think he should be. Men come. We've been dating off and on, and men have come and gone. Some men have been better at it than others. You cannot force a man to be a man, just like a man can't force a woman to be a woman. I find that when I meet men and they are a little bit insecure, if they're trying to have a relationship, it probably won't work. Um, but if I meet someone who comes into my life, he's very confident in who he is. I just think it works. It clicks. Um, I think we are spending a lot of energy on whether or not women should kind of, back off a little bit and men should move forward, because I think when you meet that one person, if you're intended to be in a relationship, or, even your male friends, they might just say, hey, I once saw a celebrity tell another celebrity who was looking for someone, and she was doing too much. She was too loud. She needed to bring it down a little bit. She didn't listen. She was talking all over the other men. He was like, you doing too much. But because she had the utmost respect for him, she listened, and she kind of backed down a little bit. But you could tell that's her personality. So that's going to be a little bit difficult when the show is over for her to go
Right.
back, not to go back to what she was doing. I just think that, if it's meant to be, it will click. And if the conversation is meant to be, that will also be done in respect.
Very good points. I hear you. I hear you. Um, you know, I think that when we talk about women dimming our light, I don't know that in this time that is really what our men, and I'm just I'm talking both, thinking of both sides. I don't know that our men really expect it. Now there are some that do expect a woman to dim her light. Now, to a man like that who needs someone who does not shine, I would say then you need a more timid woman. You don't need to partner yourself or try to partner with an outgoing woman, because then you're trying to break her from who she is, and that's not going to work. You have to know your space, you have to know who you are. But I don't think that men really want us to dim our lights, but at the same time, do we have to blind them with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we have to be so
Yes.
extra all the we gotta make them blind?
Yes. Put your sunglasses on. Put your glasses on so you can
I'm
take
just
it.
saying. And it's not that they can't handle. I mean, yeah, you got shades that help you. You're still in the sun, but you put your shades on because it helps you, again with the balance, so that you can maneuver in the sun. I get it. There's adjustments that have to be made. But I think they would like to keep their relationship corneas, so they can be able to see. Don't need to burn out their retinas and whatnot with being who we are at the same time. But some men, I mean, a man is gonna love you and like you for who you are, or we hope. A man is gonna love you and like you for who you are, not so much just because of what you do for them. We would hope. So he has to embrace you, or we have to embrace each other, in our totality. Now, I know I am a strong personality person. Anybody, I know this, you know, you don't have to, be like that, Burn. I can see you. I can see you. I'm pretty much live all day, from the rising of the sun to the setting of the same. It is live dawn all day, and like I said, for me, and in just being transparent, because we're talking real here, because how else can we get past this or help one another just to be in a better space? I don't always think that it's necessarily about dimming your light. It's about knowing when and where to shine, more so, because when you shine too much and in every space, then you blinding everybody. Then there's no room for anyone to come in and do anything else with you or for you or on your behalf. You know, like I said, for me, it would be difficult because I've been doing stuff for so long. My adjustment, at 54, now I have to be able to say, I have a grown son. I'm not in the same space that I was. He's not 9 anymore, so being over 50, now with an adult child, trying to re-enter like a dating space, still being who I am. And I have just now I feel like I've just hit the peak of who I am. Like I just got to the mountaintop, like, and I ain't coming down, but I'm saying, like, it is difficult for me in my mindset. I think about that imbalance because I don't want whoever I'm with or whoever I'm going to be with to feel like there's no room for them in my life. And that's what I'm saying. I used to rest real hard in that feminine, like, I got me. Before he could even open his mouth, you could have $1 million, you could have the best job, you could want to provide, it didn't matter job big or small, but if you are willing to make the provisions, to be there for me, I didn't care. I just didn't. It was just like, nope. Because it took me too long to get here. It took me too long to heal from the last person. And it took me too long to get myself where I'm standing on my own. And it took me too long. And I'm proud of me because then where was you when I needed help with this? Sister, I just met you. You know what I'm saying? Like we can come off in that. And I realized in retrospect, that was defensive. It wasn't welcoming. I felt like I had to defend who I am before I gave a brother even a chance to get to know who I was. So that right there, and okay. We all know men, you can't long talk them. Like they're detailed, or you got a bullet pointed for them, and that's it. We as women, we tell the whole story. We take the long road. You know, they're not going to sit there and listen, you know what I'm saying, through all of our life story. They immediately just get turned off. Like all I said was hi. And she just went down her list of accolades. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that we have to not be who we are, but we have to find the proper space and time to be that. Because again, we are pushing men away more than we are bringing them closer to us. And I don't think that's what any of us want. And then we wonder why men shut down, why they don't respond. Um,
I, I don't. I respectfully disagree. I think that when you start going out there and dating, if that's what you would like to do, or be in a relationship, there's going to be give and take in any relationship. And I think if you like Dawn, as long as I've known you, your light has been shining. So, and that is the very thing that attracts people to you. So I don't think that we are pushing men away. I think on both sides that it means there's some healing that needs to be done so that you can be able to handle the situation. So it's not, I think when women say, I've been doing this by myself, or I don't need a man. I think that is more about them than the men. That is them about their healing, than for every man that comes into their life. That means they have to do some work to get that healing done. And then for the man who comes in and gets easily pushed away or feels rejected in some way, shape, or form, they probably need some work to do too. They probably have some healing to do. Maybe the last relationship they were in, she never encouraged him, or she never spoke positive in his presence or about him. I think that on that something like that, I think it will take healing work for both sides. I don't think that it's more about, pushing that person away because he's a man, and he can't handle it. I think that if someone came into your life and you're not ready, or you're still dealing with hurt from past relationships, I think your first reaction will be to kind of push someone away with your attitude, your words, your emotions, whether, even your attitude, whether it's sad or just aggressive, or, I just really feel that that is more about the person than the person who's attracted to them or coming to them. That means that they have some work to do. They need to do the work to get to that place that they're healed and whole. So no matter what happens, they can handle that situation. But that's just me.
No, I can agree. I can agree. Tanya, you want to jump in?
I mean, I have all these things going around in my brain, and some of it I feel like it's for a different topic because, you know, there are a lot of women who are saying, "Where are the men anyway?" Who want a real relationship and want to be in a relationship so we can even get to if the light is being dimmed or are we, doing too much and all these things. So that's a different topic, I know, because there's so many women struggling everywhere just looking for companionship and feeling like they are not able to have that. But I think, I'm with Elaine, and sis, I'm gonna have to respectfully, disagree as
No,
well.
it's okay. It's your opinion and your
No,
feelings.
and
We're talking
that's
that because there's
no,
different views.
that's what I'm saying. Like that whole feeling like no one wants their light to feel like it's being dim. You definitely need to make sure that you are, when you're first dating, you want to be matched with the person, making sure. But I think sometimes, like, if let's say if you got, with the person, was married, and maybe, as time evolved, people start to grow, and
Mhm.
you start to learn things about one another. And sometimes you could be a female that you think you're cheerleading the person on because that's just who you are. You are trying to cheerlead them on, and they may be feeling suffocated because it's who they are. Maybe they just don't need all of that, but you're thinking you love the person. You're thinking, I'm going to encourage them, I'm going to cheerlead them on, and it's just not where they
Where
are.
they are.
And so, where should a woman go? I think that's a hard space probably for her as well. It may be a hard space for him. So, that's where both people, need therapy, counseling together. But sometimes people don't realize that they need that. They just are both fighting against one another. So, because when a person starts to dim their light, I think resentment comes in, and they start feeling miserable, and they're like, I just feel like I can't be who I am supposed to be, because every time, I'm vocalizing myself, if the person is seeming like they're agitated by it, that might not be a good space for her, and it might not be a good space for him. So, as long, like, that's why I keep going back to the balance. We
Hmm.
we don't want to blind anybody with anything, but we definitely need to be able to stand in our truth and who we are, and they have to stand in the truth of who they are. So where do we go from there, though?
No, that's a good
Right.
question, and I want to read. Hey, Anae is saying hi. I want to read some comments as well. Anae is saying hey to MB in the panel. Um, Kristen Jennings said, I think we can have both with balance. Sir Hale, hey, Sir Hale says, men love a woman's light. He respects it. She just can't use her light to make him feel like he must live in her shadow. And that's a good point. Um, Kristen again also made the very good point that we can have both with balance, which was what you said in the beginning, Tanya. As we talk about the balance that has to exist. But if we as women are resting so hard in our energy, and I'm not saying that we have to not be independent or be any less independent, but if we are resting so hard in our independence, where is the man supposed to come in? Where do we make room for the men to have part in our lives? Like how do they then? Where do they partner with us at? Because again, if we're saying I got it and I got this all, and I got my house, my car, I provide my things and I do for me. Um, where is the need for them? Where do we make them feel needed? Just like with us, we want women, we're very emotional. I don't care what any woman says, even the hardest woman is extremely emotional. We are emotion driven. It doesn't mean that we always lead with the emotions, but we are emotion driven. We are triggered by our emotions. Men tend to be more logical, and not so quick to respond out of an emotion. It's just how we're wired differently. But again, if we're talking about that balance, how do we as women make room for the man in our lives to feel needed without dimming our light and without feeling like we're giving up something? Because I feel like that's a lot of the reason why we don't. Is because we feel like we're missing out on something or we're losing something because we are now having to maybe retract a little bit. Even if you have to pull back a little bit in a moment, it doesn't mean that that he's going to, that your light no longer matters.
Mhm.
But where do we make that room for him? There has to be a compromise. You can't walk through a door until it's open.
Right.
So, where is this? So Marsha is saying hi, Tanya, and hey, Nikki, how are you? So, what are your thoughts? And I respectfully, and we are here to respectfully disagree. It's not an echo chamber. We want to hash out the convo.
I think that so when we say where's room for the man, so I mean there's the men in your life that are related to you. There's your boss, perhaps. There's the pastor, the deacons. Then there's the man that you might be interested or he might be interested in you. And I still say that when the right man comes along and he has the right personality for that woman, not for all women, for that woman, it's easier for the woman to rest in her femininity and make room for the man. Until that person comes along, I think that the woman will continue to, I got this. Because if she don't got it, she gonna be on the street. If she doesn't have a roof over her head, if she's not feeding her kids, if she, so I think until the right man comes along, that exudes that type of male energy that most women are looking for or needs, I think it's always going to be I got this, because we are survivors. We do whatever we got to do to keep a roof over our head, to get from point A to point B. So that's why I feel like it's difficult to tell a woman who is trying to make sure her kids eat every day to step down until the right man comes along, because that won't be every man. That'll be the right man, because every man can't tell her to back up if they're not stepping up, right? So you
True.
can't say to her, chill, but then her kids need to eat and you're not offering up any. It's just like us when we do ministry. It's hard to tell someone who's homeless to get saved when they are on the street and they're hungry and we're not feeding them. Now, lots of people do the ministry. I'm just using that as an example. So I think that every situation where women are concerned, I think it's going to take that right person to come along to ease her mind, to make her feel safe, to show that he's got it, not just say it, but to show that he's got it. And then I think it will be easier for women to kind of sit back and rest in that femininity. I have seen so many women who are, who were like, I got this. I don't need a man. I'm paying my bills and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And then all of a sudden they meet that right man and they're giggling and they're laughing. They're still doing them, but they have learned to trust the partner. They have learned so they can step out of that aggressive female role and rest in their femininity. I think that and for those who may never get that right man, they're still going to do whatever it is that they need to do, however they need to do it.
Okay, but and I agree. However, it's also a thought pattern of, okay, how do you get there though? Because at some point you have to stop being that aggressive, that aggressive, but that you
It's
have to
healing.
let you
You got to do the work.
okay,
You got to get the healing.
okay, that's
So
true.
one day
But
you're going to wake up and you're going to say, you're not going to feel the same way. And that might be the day you meet that man. But if you continue to do what you're saying, which is how do you get there, if you don't open your mind to the healing first, how are you going to get there? How are you going to open the door?
right, you have to leave that space to open the door. Um And I just want to ask everybody if you're enjoying. Thank you, everyone, for joining in for with us on tonight. We hope you are enjoying the conversation so far. Thank you, and continue to put your comments and thoughts. And we want to ask you if you're enjoying it, which I know you are because you're still here, to hit that like button, to subscribe to the channel, and to share it. So hit like, subscribe, and share so that you don't miss any of our discussions that go on. We try to keep it real over here on the Bravo Network, and we want you to be a part of the Bravo Nation. So please hit like, subscribe, and share. Help us build this platform and share it out to somebody who might want to be a part of this conversation or hear what we're talking about on tonight. Okay, we have M. Mills who's saying good evening. Hey, M. Mills, how are you, Bravette? Lady Nova sends her love to everyone. Um, and I think that is all the comments that I see for the moment. But okay, so we're gonna jump back in. So as I was saying, Bern, and I understand that, and I agree. But sometimes when you've been doing something for so long, and this has now become your norm, you don't even know that you need healing. You don't even know that you need, because this is what you've become accustomed to, and you do have to. I don't think you just wake up one day and you're like you feel differently, because you have to have a come to Jesus moment if you want to, or start thinking about why you are still in this situation. But like Tanya made a good point, that there are a lot of women who are saying, where are the men? Where are the men? Where are the good men? Well, there could be a lot of good men that are trying to approach you, that are trying to speak to you. But again, you can't blame anyone for their journey, just the same way that sometimes we want people to be open to receive us as we are, but we are not willing to be open to receive them as they are. So there has to be some type of, um, again, balance. Can't get away from that word, balance, where you're willing to give a person a chance and you're willing to give a person a try, knowing that um, you don't know how it's going to be. You don't know how it's going to work. And sometimes as women, we go, we will go as far until we will open up until the first disappointment that we have. And then we shut back down because it's, oh, I opened up and I gave him a chance. And now it's this one moment, and now he's not the same. We don't view him the same way. That one thing that he may have done or not done or said or not said, all of a sudden disqualifies him from being that good man again, you know. And then we go back resting into our, I can do it by myself, for myself, I've done it, which is defense, which again goes to, as you were saying, about us healing and doing the work. But There's a process for us to be able to get there, which is first you have to acknowledge that you don't like where you are. But when we're sitting struggling, saying, well, where are the men? Where are the good men? Where are the men? And yet we are cutting men off because we are so independent. How where is the balance in that? Or where is the door? Where is the opening? Where are you giving yourself the chance to see if this man or these men might be a right fit for you? I don't believe that you don't know if someone is right for you until you actually are getting to know them.
Right.
You
Can I
know,
share? I,
yeah.
for me, being someone who, was married and then, went back into the dating scene and was kind of shocked slash appalled about like what was going
Hmm.
on. What is this? And, but, started to date people and that whole thing about right fit, because I remember dating a lot of people and I would date men who would say stuff like, oh, so you educated, like, want to do that type of thing, talk about the fact that I was educated. And I'm like, yes, I'm not throwing my education in anybody's face, but that was how they felt. So then I was like, well, that's not going to work for me, because I'm not going to, every conversation, we're speaking and you're telling me how proper I sound, and we're not doing that. So that's not going to work. So, and it won't work, because if you feel that way, you're telling me every time I speak to you about how I sound, I can't change the way I sound.
Hmm.
I'm not belittling you, but I'm sorry that for you, you're having an issue with the fact that I pronounce words in a different way. I'm an educator. So if that's where you are at, then no, that's not going to work. So that person, type of person, would have to be cut off. So, but dating is like a job. So now you have to put, it's a lot of intentionality and a lot of effort. And a lot of times people feel like it can become exhausting. And so you have to almost treat it like a job. So now you're dating people because what you want, dating for data, for information. You're trying to
Hmm.
get information because is this person really the right fit for me, my lifestyle, and the goals and dreams and aspirations that I have? Just like they want the right fit, you want the right fit too, because as women, we can't just let anybody into our home and our space, especially if we have children, even just in our own personal space. So I don't know. For me, it wasn't more like, oh, you did one thing and I'm cutting you off. It probably was several things. It was like, okay, we're not in alignment. And once, we're going down the road and it's a couple of things, and it may have been a couple of dates or a couple of months, and I'm seeing that we're not in agreement, then we're not the right, that's not the right fit. It's not going to be the right fit, because we want to make sure that we are in alignment. So we don't get to a place where it's like, okay, I've spent 6 months and now I'm realizing this. I feel like the way things go now, a lot of women that I'm speaking to, they're not even getting 2 and 3 dates in before it's like the person either ghosts them, or they don't even hear back from the person. The person is texting them one word things like, oh, what are you doing? Who, if you're being intentional, even on the male parts, because I have to talk about this in the male part, if you're intentional, if you want to be in a relationship with someone, texting them what are you doing every day is really not being intentional either. So it's like, I think women start to build a shield for themselves, because it's like, yeah, I can do it because I have nobody else to do it with me anyway. So now it's going to take someone who say, you know what, I really like you. I like you. You like me. Let's be intentional. Let's date. Let's do things, and it's going to be over a course of time. But we got to get there, that course of time, because a lot of people are
Hmm.
telling me, and I'm right now I'm in a long-term relationship, but people are telling me they're getting 1 and 2 dates and it's not even going anywhere. So then people start to feel like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of, even trying. So how can we get our women to open up? But we need the men. I wish our brother was somewhere here so he can help with this conversation. We need the men to also be intentional on how they're also dating as well, or seeking the attention of women.
No, and that's true. That is true. I can respect that. I definitely can respect that. You make very
Definitely.
good and valid points. It is a difficult spot to be in, and dating these days is extremely hard and different from what we are used to or how we used to be. And as far as intentionality, again, I'm big on clarify and define. Those are two words I use all of my life. I will continue. I will put them on my have them put it on my tombstone. Clarify and define. Why? Because the way I receive or perceive what you're saying may be totally different than you. You know, a man texting you, taking a moment to text, and I get it. I hate to say it. I'm not really a fan of WYD either. It's like it irritates my soul. Like, bruh, can you give me all the letters? Can I have them all? Can you just say what or hi? You know, um, you know, but for some men, to them, that may be their version of or how can I put it? Okay. That might be their version of intentionality because their expectation to them, they may be seeing it again. We're not the same, you know, and until we get to a space where we really I think it has a lot to do with us being honest and communicating as to what our expectations or what my needs are. Like if I say to you, like, okay, if you're just a friend and you texting me, what are you doing? I'm like, okay, that's different. But if you're a man who's trying to be in my life or get to know me better and we've developed a rapport and you're texting me WYD, I'm
every
like, bruh,
day, every day.
right.
Right.
But oh God, see, I'm about to tell him I'm about to tell on myself. Okay, transparent moment. There was a gentleman who approached me that I did not know, but we have mutual friends. Mary is shaking her head already. Um, and literally every day and every night, he'll text good morning and good night. Good morning and good night. I'm to the point where like, okay, is there any other part of the conversation that we're gonna have other than good morning and good night? Because where's the content? So it came a point where I just flipped the switch off, and I'm like, friend zone. Okay, you know, you're not in consideration anymore because in this case, you're not being intentional. You didn't start out that way. It just kind of I don't know what shifted, what changed. It could have been me because I'm like I don't have a whole lot of time to give you because I have a lot that I'm doing. Just like, you know, all of us women and men too, I know their time is valuable and important. We have different schedules, we have different lives. But when I'm stopping to respond to your text, or if I'm stopping to even text you or call you first, time is one thing that none of us can get back. So I'm going to be intentional, but I'm big on content. I'm big on conversation. Like, you know, so while in his mind, he may think like he is, you know, doing the thing, like, you know, he's really like, I'm meaning this. I'm showing her that I'm interested and I care because every morning she gets a text, you know, every night she gets a text. People who put too much of this, you know how we get, oh, he texts me every night and says good night. You know, we've all been there. Oh, and I get my good morning text. I'm like, sis, don't rest in that. You know, there has to be more to it than that. And you're showing me your intentions. Your intention is just to keep my attention, or your attention is to tap into a moment, you know, not necessarily to build something in my life. So we have to make those decisions at some point as to when we, you know, kind of disengage from it, you know, because I'm like, bro, I got a lot going on. So if I'm giving you an hour's worth of my time, like that's the hour I could have been writing. That's the hour I could have been working. That's the hour I could have been producing something. That's the hour, you know. So, but make it worth my while. And I would do the same for you, you know. So we have to have that balance. But I gave him the opportunity in spite of whatever I was feeling, in spite of whatever I was going through, I said I did the work on myself to get me to a point where I could be open and say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm gonna try to get to know him. And as a person, it's like you cool, but if you look in relationship, we can't do that, you know, because you're not giving me enough. I'm like there's nothing for me to latch on to. So you know, like where am I going? But even in the midst of that, and it was something that you said before and I can't remember exactly, but through the process that you're speaking of, one thing is, oh, you're talking about dating and how the men would talk to you and approach you about your education. Like that was something that they would bring up, you know. Um, but even in that, and then you giving them the opportunity to get to know you, you never dimmed your light. You never stop being exactly who you were. It's either I'm going to be me, and you can either handle, learn to handle and work with. You're either going to be equipped to work with where I'm at. But if you're already in the door intimidated by who I am, that's an issue. You know, so I commend you for not giving up who you are, not diminishing yourself in any way. And I don't feel like any woman should, but you also gave them the opportunity. You open that door um, to the male presence to be in your life. And unfortunately, but for it's just the way it is. It's the way we have to navigate, because otherwise you'll never know. You just have to put a cap on how much time you're going to spend, what do you expect. And I think if we're upfront with gentle expectations, not like we've been out 2 times, do you want to get married? Because sometimes us women are like that too. We can be, but I don't feel like we have to stop being independent in who we are in order to have a man. I think we just have to be open to giving a man a chance to see how he can be grafted into the fabric of your life. Because when you get in the relationship, or when you get in marriage, it's no longer just you. You are working towards becoming one. So each of us have to learn how to, we weave our fabric a little differently at that point. So Bern, did you want to add something before I move on to the next question? And thank you guys for pumping in again. Like, subscribe, and share the Bravo Network, the Bravo channel. I wish the men was here so that they could add into the conversation so we could hear from their side. But this is good. This is good. All right. No comments, Miss Byrne.
No.
Okay. All right. So the next question, because that question was, do we have to choose? I think we all agree that we don't have to choose between being an independent woman and having a man. I believe we all agree that we don't have to diminish our light or take down. I think we all agree that we don't have to be less than who we are. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but we do require balance. We just have to know when to balance ourselves. And that takes us having a man in our lives that will make us feel secure, um, comfortable, and we know that we can depend on them handling whatever it is so that we can pull back a bit. Do we agree?
Yep.
Agree.
Okay. All right. Well, we agree on that. We agree on something. That's okay. I love it. So I want to ask this question too. Um, does your independence, because again, a lot of us rest in our, again, it's talking about us resting really hard in our female energy, and does that replace the presence of a man? So while we are doing all these wonderful things, and we are all women who have achieved, we are women of accomplishments, we are different. I don't want to say women of different caliber, but everyone is on different levels. We have value added to us, and all women do. We are where we are. But being these type of women and being independent women, does it satisfy the need for the male presence in your life or in our lives? And why does it feel, or does it feel like to you that where the challenge is, I guess I want to say. Well, I'll ask that question first. Does your independence that you have satisfy the need for the male presence in your life?
I
I'll start.
mean, go ahead.
Absolutely not. I mean, I still, I was, I'm in a long term relationship too. So, but it took me a minute to get there, but that had nothing to do with my independence. I just went after whatever it is that I wanted to do. And I just know that I was supported in that effort. So I can't say that it takes the place of having a man. After you've done all that you wanted to do and accomplished everything you want to do and get everything you want to get, I personally I can only speak for myself.
Hmm.
It will never take the place of having a man in my life. I think that it adds to it, you know, um, unless you have somebody who is not supportive while you're doing all of that. Or, I mean, I have a friend who has this huge house, and she met someone, and the first thing he said was, "So when can I have my birthday party?" And she was like, "Well, whenever you want," not catching on that he meant when could he have his birthday party at her house, at her
Oh,
house. So he just
that's
assumed.
different.
So he assumed, you my woman, you got this house, I get to have my birthday party here and invite whoever I want, you know. And she had to make a decision. um and so she let him have the party. She said it was fine, but then here comes New Year's Eve, and she's like, no New Year's Eve party, because that means that those same people he invited for his birthday, they have to come inside because it's winter now. And she was like, and I don't want them to tear up my stuff. Now this is a person who was like a VP at a company. She's very, very well educated, already been married, divorced, kids grown, everybody's out of the house. And we had the conversation. She was not willing to kind of sort of give him on a platter everything that she worked for, but she still desired to have a man in her life. And then after she let that go, she did meet someone who could meet her on her, on her terms, on her level, and they worked it out, and they've been happily ever after. But I just was wondering how, that was going to work with her. And then she was telling him how he was going to do his life, like when you retire, this is how much you're going to get a month. This is how much you're going to give me a month. And I was like, did you talk to him about his money, or are you just telling him what he could do? And at that point, I was like, do you really want a man in your life? And she kind of backed down. So having all of those accomplishments do not take the place for me of having that other person in your life, that other man. I shouldn't say other man, the man, the man.
I was like, which other man? Which that means you
About to
got
get,
options.
you thought you were going to get in trouble. I'm about to get myself in trouble.
Right, I was going to say, is there something you ain't telling me? Like, what are we talking? What's up, bestie? Let's go offline.
No, I
I'm going to stop
agree with,
talking now. I'm
yeah,
going to stop
I,
Okay.
talking now.
Yes, you take a break. And Bird
Mm,
will be back in 30 seconds.
yeah, I
And we're going to
agree.
go to Tanya now.
Yeah, I agree. I said that last part one, I said I like having, a male presence in my life. I never was one when people were like, I don't need no man. No, that was not me. I was like, okay, you can feel that way, but I like, the right person, of course. I have my father, thank, God, he's still, alive and healthy. So I like the fact that to this day, I can say, my dad's presence is strong and he takes care of our family unit. And, I have a brother, I have, who I can call on for advice if I need advice. He's, been a presence in my life, my entire life. So if I need advice, I know I can call on him and he can give me that, when at times when I was lacking in my personal life, I could rely on his presence to, offer me support and advice, and, now I'm in a long term relationship, but so no, it does not take the place. Being independent, I think there's room for that. It's healthy to know what you want in life, to go after your goals, to achieve those things, but also, like I said, I keep going back to balance, having a balance of, and understanding. I don't, there's no one living with me right now, but, you know, one day again, if it comes to that, then understanding, okay, this is how we will move together, in a space. If we have to, we're going to be in a space living together. But right now, even, as a dating unit, I love the fact that, we can do things together. And I like being a girly girl. So, he'll come over, cut the grass for me, do those things. I love that kind of stuff, and, you know, he likes to eat, I'll cook, and you gonna cut the grass. Oh, we working here,
Right,
so
high five.
right, high five, so that's working together. I can rest it, but it does take someone, once you're matched, knowing that you can trust them with that, because it has to get to a place where you can trust them with that and say,
Right.
I trust you in my space where I can be softer, because I know that you're going to not use that, and you're going to allow me to be soft, and I can be softer. And, so yeah, no, it does definitely, for me personally, I'm with Elaine. It does not, me being independent, does not at all replace the male energy. I've been in a lot of leadership roles. My recent role that I stepped down from as an AP, it was really difficult, and so I had to do all that at work. And when I come home, I want to be in a position where I can, you know, take a break, and I don't have to control everything you think.
Mhm.
It would be nice to be in that position.
I completely agree. Yes, ma'am, and yes, ma'am. Um, Listen, I'm just keep it straight. I'm tired. I was like, Lord, I'm tired. The sister is just tired. I want to take my superwoman cape off. I want to leave it on the door of the porch. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. I don't want to do it no more. I feel like that. What is that? The meme that's going on now. Get somebody else to do it. You know.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Right. As independent as I am, and I love being independent. I love being able to stand on my own. I love being able to earn my own. I love being able to make my own way. In some senses, that's all I've ever known. Even when I was married, I was like that. I was taught that way. My father taught me that he said, no man wants a woman he has to rescue all the time. Not all the time. He's like, he can't be on a business trip and you calling him and you're like, honey, the stove won't light. And those kind of, you know what I mean? And where it's like, well, what? Well, just did you do that? Nobody wants that. A man wants to know that you can be able to handle things when he's not there. Hey, Donald, could you mute your mic for 1 second? Because we get the background noise. Um, a man wants to know that you can handle yourself in his absence, but at the same time, he wants to also know that when he shows up, that he's your hero. His place is still safe. Um, but for me, yeah, I'm tired. I mean, I'm not dating right now, but I'm tired. I'm open to, and I might be open to it because I'm tired. You know, we don't know yet. We're about to find out. But I think that even in all of our independence, we have to leave room for the men, to come in. And I just don't want a man to come into my life because I'm tired. I just
Right.
acknowledge the fact that I've been carrying a weight for a long time, and I've had to put myself in a space that wasn't necessarily created for me so that I could survive. But you get to a point where you don't want to survive anymore, you want to live.
Mhm.
And in that, I want to keep my independence, but I want to add it to the male presence. I want it to be
Yeah.
in concert with. When I come home, no, I don't want to make any decisions. Don't ask me what we eat. I don't care what we eat. It don't matter. I don't care as long as we eat. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. I don't care what kind of ice cream you decide. You know, um, it just don't matter. I don't care what kind of toothpaste we use. I don't care what kind of toilet paper we get. I don't care. I'll let you at this point in life, I'll let you make every decision you want to make. Let your male energy rest and rule and abide. I'm good with it. But I don't feel I don't think that we have to choose. And I'm glad my brother is here. Hey, Donald. That's number 2 or 4, y'all. I'm glad he has been able to pop on and he's going to share. I'm giving some space to share in a minute. I do just want to say again, thank you all for being on. And if you're enjoying the conversation, please like, subscribe, and share so that we are helping to build this platform. And we want you to know that we appreciate you here at Bravo with Sheila. Um, we keep getting back to, or the main word it seems like that keeps coming up is balance, 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 balance. It's all about balance. But one thing I do want to just put a pin in right there when it comes to balance is that balance doesn't always mean equal. You know, if you look at a scale, you know, and there's weights on each side, and the weights, depending on what's on each side, is sometimes it's going to be up one way, it's going to be down the other, but it's to balance it so that it equals that 100%. You know, and I think that we have to keep that in perspective as we're talking about us being independent and us making room for men in our lives. That balance is not about it always being 50-50. If you're going to be balanced, it needs to be 100-100, but it doesn't always mean equal. It just means that when we come together, we create that 100. So, I wanted to share that. But I want to welcome you again, Donald, to the platform. We were just picking up where we left off last week. And one of the questions I had asked the ladies, or we picked up from again, was um, well, I'll take it from here. Does your independence satisfy the need for male presence? And we've all agreed that it doesn't. Um, but share your thoughts on, as a man, how
Does
it
your
is dealing with women who are independent, and what do you expect? What kind of room do you expect? Is it difficult to be to engraft yourself in the life of a woman who's extremely independent or independent? Period. I know you're married, but I'm just saying from the male perspective.
I remember my single days too. So yeah, yeah. Question either way. Um, uh, good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm popping in late, but I had some business to take care of. But in short, um, repeat that question to him because it's not that I forgot what you said. I really want to hear it again.
Okay. The question really is, as a man dealing with an independent woman, what are the difficulties that you encounter or have encountered um, with, I want to say, connecting with letting your presence as a man be felt in the life of a independent female woman? Female woman, same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Female.
get it. So I've had a lot of engagement and I've had a lot of interaction with women in leadership at the workplace, uh, at the workplace, period, where independence is so, they're so strong about their independence, so defensive about their independence, that they forget the fact that not every man is trying to challenge them on their independence. Um, I don't doubt that there are men that do have a problem with women being with a woman who's independent and strong-minded. And going back to, I believe, a comment made in last week's session, where I don't need a man to do anything or in order to survive. And again, I say no, that's not correct. No man can say he don't need a woman, and every man wants a woman to produce a child for him. Uh, every every man sets certain expect. Every man needs a woman. Every woman needs a man. But what I have found has happened too many times where I have experienced it to the point where it has almost turned me into a chauvinist. Is dealing with certain women whose confidence is not the issue. It's just how overbearing or how they just overstate it. You don't have to act like a woman that doesn't need a man mentality and then make the man feel like he has no purpose of being around. Because men have a purpose for women and women have a purpose for men. I've had incidences in the workplace where I've had these strong female leaders, turn into, creating these feminist campaigns in the workplace where you're diminishing the male presence that has the same capability of doing the job that the woman has. And I get that there's been a cheat on women for many years, centuries, where you know y'all have been thought of as just cooking, cleaning in the bedroom, and I get where, and I understand how that makes a woman feel. I can imagine how that makes a woman feel. But it's gotten to the point where some of your colleagues of the same gender are going overboard to where they're putting men down more. They're talking poorly about men, and that even means their husbands. I've heard women talk about their husbands in the workplace like he ain't nothing, he ain't never gonna be nothing. I don't even know why I'm gonna. And I say to myself, now why would you come and talk about other women who are probably going through the same experience and toss that out there and diminish your husband in front of you? I don't quite get why there is this attitude coming out of women who are trying to make a impact. You know, uh, to they're trying to make this impact in the corporate world, especially to show the old boys club that a woman can do the job the same way as a man, but they take it to the point where they just totally just diminish the man down to making him feel like he's almost nothing, worthless, incapable, incompetent, ignorant. And again, the attitude of I don't need him. I don't understand what that was about. But I've had those experiences where and I'm gonna be very transparent. I've seen it especially in the black women. You know, I had a supervisor that diminished me to making me feel like that honestly made me feel intimidated by it. To the point where I walked in fear because I felt like anything I did next was going to cost me my job, and I was already going through enough with all the, nag, 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 and I'm using the word nag not to be offensive, but to say that's how I felt because I, because her approach to me was always aggressive, abrasive, abusive, always putting me down, never really building me up. If I did things right, I was still not. It still wasn't good enough. It really created a complex um, where I began to feel like, oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I am what she says I am. I tend to wonder if a woman who empowers herself like that and behaves like that, I wonder if there are women who, when they act like that, if the men that they do that with turn to homosexuality because now they feel like women like that they run into time and time again
Lord
make them.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. Well, hold on one minute.
Yeah,
Let me just pause you for one moment,
yeah,
because I know Tanya has to jump off for in a moment. So I want to make sure to thank her for coming on for part two, and for sharing from her cup and from her well of life, and for adding to the conversation. And I just want to give space to her to
yeah,
give
absolutely.
her last words of advice, of encouragement to our audience, because we're going to be wrapping up shortly behind her. So go ahead, Tanya.
Thank you. I definitely missed you, Donald, because I said, "Where is Donald?" Because I wanted to hear his voice. But and to that point, he's talking about, listen, I've seen the same thing, and um, with in the workplace, and being a female as well, and the same microaggression has happened. Also, I've seen it happen to me and with other people, males, females, and it's something inside of them that they need some healing and some therapy work on.
Yeah,
That's what I truly believe. But my last point, like I said, is all about balance. Let us, we can rest in being independent, being strong, but also creating a space for someone to come a part of our world and our life that will match our energy, but also being very intentional on choose the picking the person that we would like to be in our lives, and also making sure that they are also intentional about the space they want to be in our lives. But thank you, Sheila, for this space, and Elaine, and our beautiful co-host, Dawn. And I look
Mm.
forward to more opportunities to be with you. And everyone who I invited, thank you for coming, and please like, share, and subscribe. I love you all. Good night, everybody.
Good
Night,
night.
Tanya. We'll definitely have you back, sis. I love you so much.
So.
Again, thank you for coming on. I just wanted to make sure that we gave her space to um, give her final comments. So I appreciate that. And Donald, I know you popped on late because of other commitments. So I do appreciate you coming on as well and popping on. Burn, I always appreciate you. Um, and you make very good points. And I think if I'm hearing correctly, to kind of surmise it, is that um, we have to be again at the main word that keeps coming up tonight is it keeps going back to balance, but
Right.
we as women have to make sure that we are exercising our independence in the right places at the right levels at the right time, so that we are not diminishing the male presence, so that we are not degrading the male presence, and so that we are not devaluing the men that are in our lives. Um, and we had another comment. I think Robert Little says, yes, be intentional. We have to be intentional. In all that we do, we should be intentional, and when we are, we should be clear in our intentionality one to the other, so that there's no misunderstanding and so that there is no guesswork. We all speak different languages, and people receive and give love in different ways. So we have to know our capacity, and we have to learn the language. It's okay if we don't express things the same way, but I need
Right.
to make sure that I have the capacity to express to you in a language that you can receive and understand and feel fulfilled and satisfied by what I'm saying or what I'm doing. I think as women, I know it's hard and it's frustrating sometimes because we bear on our hearts, the weight of our hearts for what we have been through. And sometimes we don't acknowledge what men have been through, because on the other side of any relationship is a man, and not every man is bad. Not every man is not reliable, is unreliable. There are plenty of good, reliable, of great caliber men. I'm trying to find the right word, to express it. Um, and I don't think that we have to dim our lights in order for them to be in our lives. So um, this has been a really great part 2. We were able to pick it apart on another layer. It's always, these conversations always come in layers. As you peel one back, there's another one, and there's always another one. But they always have one. We find that there's always one voice, one point in them all. And again, the word of today is balance. So as we're wrapping this up, again, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in, for watching, for hanging out with us. Again, like, subscribe, and share. This is one of many conversations that we have had and will be having. Um, but I want to leave space for our panelists to share their final thoughts and their last word of encouragement before we wrap it up for the night. So I'm going to throw it over to Elaine to share, and then we're going to go to Donald, and then I'll be back.
So I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I think we all have different perspectives as far as like female energy, strong female energy, and male energy. And I think and then I also think that there's a difference in the way our generation looks at it, and then I can't wait to see what the other generation thinks about it. Because they probably don't think there is a difference, but I
That's a
just
good
think
point.
that, yeah. I think that you know, I do agree with, we shouldn't have to dim our lights or quiet who we are. I think you have to know when to use it, when not to use it. Do you have the same energy in the workplace that you have at home? And is the person that you're with, because sometimes it's not just about a relationship, it's just across the board, right? And so I didn't even think about the workplace until Minister Brathwaite brought it up. I've seen it several times in the workplace, and then you hear all the whispering going on behind the scenes about that particular woman. So I do think there is, like we've been saying all night, you've got to have a balance, and some of us don't even know we're out of control to learn how to have the balance.
Mm.
So I think that's an area of instruction that could be done, right, Pastor Brathwaite, Dawn?
Yes.
Good, good topic, Pastor.
Y-
So I'm gonna
yes,
leave
ma'am.
that right there. It's room for instruction. It's room for instruction. Yes,
Like why she had to go there though? Why she got to go all the way there?
I'm
because I'm not gonna do it. So somebody's got to.
Right. So you see, this is why you need friends like Bird. This is why you need best friends like Bird. Because when they don't want to do something, they pull God into it, knowing that you cannot escape the things of the Lord that He's assigned to your hands. See, that's why everybody needs a friend like that. That's what best friends are for. That's what
It's your
friends are
assignment.
for.
It's your assignment.
Well, thank you, assignment master. I'm gonna put that on my list of things to do. Thank you for that share. No, that was great. I always enjoy Elaine's perspectives, and believe it or not, she and I talk like this day to day, every day. We pretty much any conversation we have, we really talk and keep it honest and 100. And we, as she puts it, respectfully disagree sometimes, but that's the beautiful, but that's the beautiful thing about it is that life is not an echo chamber, and everyone speaks from their experience. And it allows us, we rub up against each other and it allows us to look at things from different perspectives. So we bring up points that the other one may not have thought of because of our experience. So, I always appreciate her voice and when she's here. And then we do fight sometimes. It's okay. Um, so I want to leave space to down. It's all in love though. It's all in love. I
Absolutely.
want to leave space for Donald to share his final comments and thoughts, and then I'm going to come behind him and we're going to wrap up the show for tonight.
so
Go ahead,
look.
big brother.
So look, we all gleaned some real good information from tonight. I'm sorry I missed so much more of it, but listen, here's what it all comes down to as my final thoughts. Um, men and women have to learn to know, have to learn. Men and women need each other. Period. No matter how successful one is over the other, doesn't make a difference. I encourage women make wise choices. If you're starting a new relationship, know what you want for yourself first before you decide to define what you want in your man or for a man. I heard my sister say a very big word. I believe in it tremendously, and that's the word balance. Balance yourself, and let God then and then let God do His work. Be ready, and whether I can speak in this in two ways, spiritually and morally. It all still means it's still going to have the same expression. Um, women are powerful. Women are powerful in every man's life. Um, what y'all could do helps us focus and straighten ourselves out. You ladies help us balance ourselves. I encourage women who take pride in their accomplishments and their goals and their objectives to also take time to know when to come back, know when to use that energy in the right venue. And for the fellas, don't be on your defense to when your lady is telling you something that is to your benefit. I know sometimes we feel like little boys when the women speak to us, and that be from our mothers to our girlfriends, wives, sisters. And believe me, I have sisters that won't hesitate in a minute. But anyway, uh, now, but let's put some value to what they're telling us. And my sister and I, Dawn and I, have had plenty of conversations where I've called her and said, "Look, I don't know what is going on with y'all gender these days. I mean, I'm at the job doing what I'm supposed to do. I got women talking to me like they men, and I'm having thoughts about knocking them out like men because they're talking to me like."
No
but
violence.
thank,
No
but
violence.
thank God I don't have that kind of courage to do that. But I guess I bottom line want to share that we all need to get to know each other a lot better. I'd like to encourage all y'all ladies out there that are empowered, independent, out there doing your thing. Kudos, hand claps, and party hats. Keep on doing what you're doing. But make room in your life for the man in your life or the right man coming into your life to fit in. Don't worry what he. If you got to worry about what he has to bring to the table, I understand that. But if you're expecting him to have more than you, well, what if the guy that doesn't have more than you is still the right guy?
Amen.
And I pass
That
the mic.
That is a great point. Thank you, Donald, for that. And that's why it was so important that we have the men on tonight, so that we can have a balanced conversation. So I want to thank you again, Elaine, my bestie, and Donald, my brother, and Tanya, for being on tonight, for sharing from your cup and from drawing from your well. And I would just say, I want to end with Sir Hale's comment. I really like it. And he said earlier, men love a woman's light. I think sometimes when we hear things, we hear it, but we don't accept it because
Yeah.
we still want to believe what we are. We want to rest in our defense. So as I read it, I hope that women, you are hearing what a man says. One thing we do is men say something and he'll say, I love you. Like, no, you don't. And he's saying, I love you. He's like, no, you don't. And we have to learn how to hear and accept what he's saying, and vice versa. That's what happens.
True.
But he says, and I hope you hear, men love a woman's light. He respects it. He loves your light and he respects it. She just can't use her light to make him feel like he must live in her shadow. Now, we don't have to agree with it, but we need to embrace it because the men are expressing how they feel. This is what they're saying about their view of us and what their expectation or desire from us is. So, with that being said, I would say, women, men, if you want a woman to relax in her strong female energy, then create a space of security for her so that she's able to relax her shoulders and not have to stand or walk in that strong female energy all the time. And then, ladies, if you want the man to be in your life, then we have to create a space for a man to feel safe and for him to feel valued and for him to feel important and to know that he's needed. Above all, we should really be complementing one another, not in competition with one another. Let us remember that balance doesn't always mean equal. It means that together we make 100. And when we all come to the table with 100% of ourselves, good, bad, and indifferent, we can cover each other and we can grow together and we can build a stronger relationship. So that is my share on tonight. I again want to give a big bravo to all of our bravettes and our brave brothers. I salute my amazing mentor in these YouTube and podcast streets, none other than the Queen of Bravo, Pastor Sheila Ingram, for sharing such space. Amen. For sharing her space and for allowing me to host and for her push and moving forward. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Please like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. I promise you, it only gets better from here. I promise you, it only gets better from here. We don't want to just have conversation, but we want to leave with a resolve and with some tools. So we hope that what we shared tonight from our well and what we've poured from our cups has been a blessing to get a conversation or a thought moving and stirring with you. So join us again. We're on usually every Tuesday at 7 and every Thursday at 7, Tuesday and Thursday at 7, right here on the Bravo with Sheila YouTube channel in these brave YouTube streets, in these podcast streets. We making it happen. We look forward to you joining us again. Thank you for being a part of the Bravo Nation. And again, like, subscribe, and share. And we will look forward to doing it again. Stay tuned because we will do it again. Dawn B and friends will be back. And with that, we say good night. God bless. Love on one another. Be safe and be encouraged. Till next time.
All right, all right.
You guys hold on 1 second while we close, please.